Hello and welcome to News Today. My name is Kemini Nyamani. I'm an coming up traditional ruler of Seikwa in the Bunuahafu region, gunned down by unknown assailants. Ahead in business, new research puts Ghana cedi as worst performing currency in Africa 2013. On the foreign front, M23 rebel group ends its insurgency hours after the government claimed military victory. Coming up in sports, Ghana Black Stars will now camp in Turkey instead of Ethiopia to prepare for the 2014 World Cup playoff against Egypt. We will be telling you why. Stay on for details of these stories and plenty more coming up in a moment. Thanks for staying on. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission Tuesday held a meeting to vet the announced strike. Organized Labour announced the Organized Labour announced a nationwide strike starting November 18 after government failed to reverse the recent increment in utility tariffs. Eric Curtis Howard is joining us from the venue of this meeting between the PURC and the Trades Union Congress. Hello, Curtis.
Hello, Kemini.
I understand the Labour Union failed to show up.
Yes, the Trade Union Congress failed to show up, and so that has thrown the whole process for dialogue as to how best to resolve the impasse between the organized labour and the PURC and government. That's been done. But one thing that the PURC indicated was that they would give organized labour another chance for this meeting to come on for them to address the issue. But a number of issues were raised during this meeting. First of all, the PURC did indicate that there was no way they were going to reduce the recent tariff increment because according to them, it meant that we would have to go back to the load shedding exercise, which they don't think most Ghanaians are in favor of. That's the first thing that they said. And the organized labor also this morning, they brought a press statement that they have suspended their representation on the PURC board for the time being because government has failed to heed to their concerns. And the PURC has taken this statement as an insult to the organization of the board. What they said was that they are going for legal representation. They'll go to parliament, they'll go to wherever they have to go to find out what it means for somebody, because for them, they said that for the PUC to be on the PURC board, it was a statutory requirement that had been implemented by the law. So it means that the organized labor were sort of kind of disrespecting the law of the country. So they will take this far. They will seek legal advice as to how best to go with this particular issue. And the Sama Sapon, the CEO of the PRC, said they sent letters to Kofi Asamoah and other members. So they found it strange that they couldn't come for the meeting. But they did indicate that they would give them another chance, probably in the course of the week, before Monday, November 18th, when the organized labor strike action is expected to come.
But this morning also we read that the TUC had said it wasn't going to the meeting at all. I'm wondering why the PURC is finding it strange at this point. Perhaps
yes,
they didn't.
According to the statement that was read today by the PURC, what they did, they according to them, they said that Kofi Asamoah actually sent a letter to the PURC to say they are having a meeting with the Ghana Employers Association and other members, so the TUC would not be represented at today's meeting. But the PURC is saying that the meeting was not addressed. The representation at today's meeting was not only addressed to Kofi Asamoah, but was addressed to the leadership of the TUC. So if Kofi Asamoah, couldn't be part of the meeting, probably he could have sent representation to come to be part of the meeting, so they could dialogue further. So that's why they found it very strange that none of the leaders of the TUC were at the meeting today. But one thing they did indicate was that there was it wasn't possible that they were going to reduce the tariff increment.
And then it makes me wonder why they don't want to meet with the TUC. That the TUC wants you.
Yes,
right.
Today's meeting was to, the power players, the power producers were at the meeting.
Right.
DRA, Water, Asogli, and all the other power producers were at the meeting. Now, they wanted the organized labor to understand how the power producers produce the power, what they go through, the kind of challenges that they are facing, so that they can understand further why the reduction in the tariff increment was not going to be possible, right? So that was what the meeting purposely wanted to spell out to the TUC.
Right.
But, they are still trying to understand that they want a reduction, and that was the reason why they did not turn up for today's meeting.
So did they say when they'll hold this meeting again?
Okay. According to the PRC, they will keep consulting with organized labor, with the TUC, and after when the TUC agrees finally to come to the negotiating table,
right,
they will meet with them. So from now until Friday, we should expect a sort of a meeting. Other than that, we should expect a strike action from Monday, November 18th, as organized labor declared.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that update. Eric Curtis Howard joined us with the update on the PURC TUC impasse. The news is that they failed to turn up. In fact, they told us they were not going to turn up. They will continue to boycott PURC engagements, and they failed to turn up for this particular engagement with the PURC. We'll move on to some other stories. And Sekwa Chief Nana Kweku Jima Ankwana has been shot dead in the Bunahavo region. Nana Akwana is said to have been shot around 8 p.m. on Monday while he relaxed at home. He was hit in the chest and died while being taken to the hospital. Recently, a few of his cars were also torched in his residence. Pius Kwesi Anoche with Agro FM. He's joined us over the telephone from Brekum. Hello, Pius. Hello, Pius.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Many thanks for your time this afternoon. But what's the latest on the situation?
Okay, right now I'm at Sekwa, and the whole town it's calm. Everything is cool over here. But the police have taken over the town. They are patrolling inside the town to make sure peace and tranquility comes into the town. We went to the palace this morning and we met some of the chiefs, and they were telling us that traditional way the chief is not yet dead because they've taken him to the hospital, and now nobody has reported to them that he's dead. So they can't confirm it to us. But right now I'm here with the police. I'm at the police station at Sepa. Fortunately, I have with me the acting regional police commander who is right now on Adom FM speaking, so I don't know our time if we'll be able to speak to him. His name is ACP PA.
Right. Now, Pius, while we wait for ACP to go over the phone, tell us some of the things ACP has been telling you about this particular case.
They've been telling us that yesterday, since they had this information, they came here, the divisional commander and the district commander came here yesterday in the evening to see the situation, and when they came, they were able to control tempers and everything. So everything went on well with them over here. But right now, the police were here. They were here this morning, and they met the chiefs. They discussed one or two things with them. So as right now, as I speak to you, ACP has finished with Adom FM so that we can be able to speak to him.
Of course, please go ahead.
Good afternoon and welcome to Joy FM. Good afternoon. Please, can you tell us right now what is the situation at hand right now?
For now, the situation here is very calm. And like everybody knows, Biafra is not a very troublesome spot. Politically, everything is calm. Chieftaincy problem, no, we don't have it here. So we are all amazed as to what actually happened. And that is what we are all trying to unravel.
Have you been able to get somebody at hand right now?
So far not.
You suspect some people?
It is part of our investigations. So we are on our investigations. Whatever comes out, we'll let the public know of it.
ACP.
Were you informed that Nana is having a problem with somebody?
Not much.
Okay, my sister, I don't know if you have something more to add to it.
Sure. ACP, quickly, tell us, what mechanism have you put in place so we don't have any form of reprisal attacks? Because what we understand is this could be linked to some chieftaincy disputes. So what sort of mechanism are we putting in place?
So far, as I'm concerned, there's nothing like chieftaincy problem here.
I see.
But you are not ruling out anything. You combine everything, and you are trying to do the best that you can to unravel what actually did happen.
Right. And so what the police is not expecting is reprisal attack over this matter. You're not expecting another faction to carry out another attack.
No, we don't expect that there is going to be an attack from any other quarter.
I see.
Because the town is not divided along any line. For us to say that once the chief has been shot, his side is always going to retaliate or going to revenge.
Very well.
Here.
ACP, at the point that the late chief had his cars torched, why didn't the police deem it necessary to provide him some sort of security?
You see, if you live at Sekwa, the question that you are asking will not arise. Sekwa is a very peaceful town.
Right.
It is a very peaceful town. The chief lives most of his time in Sunyani. He's a contractor, so he lives most of the time in Sunyani. He comes here periodically, and he has no problem with anyone to warrant police protecting him all the time, anytime that he comes here.
Right.
So that is the situation that we have before you were shot.
Many thanks, ACP.
Thank you.
Now, the Ghana Medical Association has advised the National Health Authority to desist from shifting. Well, let's take a look at the story.
The National Health Insurance Scheme was set up by Act 650/2003 and revised in and passed into law in 2012. The scheme over the years moved from fee-for-service payment system to the Ghana Diagnosis-Related Group Fee Payment, and now the capitation currently being piloted in the Ashanti region and yet to be rolled out nationwide. For the Ghana Medical Association, moving from one form of payment to the other should be thoroughly revised.
The NHIA should not panic from one program to the other. They don't exhaust the programs and they go to another program. And very soon we exhaust all the payment programs. And where do we go? As I speak with you now, there's a capitation pilot in Ashanti region. It was supposed to be for 1 year. We are now in November and we know there's no direction. Where are we moving from there? Are we expanding to the whole country? Have we learned any lessons that we need to roll over? The last meeting that we had, the Ghana Medical Association, our 13th public lecture, the general consensus was that we must stop capitation now, revise it before we roll it over the rest of the country.
Meanwhile, service providers are calling for a direct access to the NHIL fund, as the current system of accessing the fund through the Ministry of Finance causes the delay of claim payments to service providers.
Mount Afadjato, Ghana's highest summit, is one of the major tourist sites and attracts hundreds of locals and foreign tourists every week. Climbing the 2,905-foot mountain is no mean achievement, but even before adventure seekers get any closer to the mountain, they have to contend with an 8-kilometer stretch of road which is in such a bad state. Most of it are worn out even before they start. Most people are worn out even before they start the ascent. Residents say the poor nature of the road led to the collapse of a once vibrant market in the town. Nia Krofi Smart Abe reports.
Like most Ghanaians, I have heard and read about the Afadjato, that it is the highest point in Ghana. So when I was invited by a pre-term campaign group, Little Big Souls, to scale it, I just could not decline the offer. My sponsors, however, did not warn me we had to first deal with the road leading to Liatipote, the community which is home to Afadjato. Liativote, unlike most rural communities, has almost every basic amenity they require, including internet connectivity. Their main worry, therefore, is the road.
Sure, I can say maybe it's because of the highest point being here. Yeah, so the government do put eye on this community. They always, when we ask for anything, they always try to do it, apart from the road network. Apart from the road network.
Because the road network is no good.
Very, very bad. Very, very bad.
How long has it been like this?
No, since. In fact, we've been going to the offices concerning roads and even to as far as to the castle. Yeah, that's because of the road. But to no avail. We haven't got any correct answer at all. When they come, because of politics, when they come, they start to do something, and then after we vote for them, they go off. And that's all. This is how the road came about. Yeah.
Gladys Bada laments how they lost their once vibrant market because vehicles were not willing to drive on that road to the community. If the roads are fixed, she tells me, traders from the neighboring communities will resume trading with them. As a predominantly farming community, the residents are forced to consume what they grow since they cannot transport them to neighboring markets to sell. Wilson Kofiosei, who briefs tourists about the history of the town and mountain, says tourists always query him about the state of the roads.
The road network, we beg them through the PM, the MP, to the parliament, to the castle, to all the top men, that we beg them. This is the highest point in Ghana, 2,905 feet. People have been coming from near and far. Yet still the road is like this. When they come, they always ask me in particular, because I always brief them. They ask me why we are taking money and why the road is like this. Yet we still pay something to the government through the assembly.
With the issue of the road now out of the way, it was time for me to scale Mount Afadjato. It didn't take too long, though, for myself and the group of about 20 from Little Big Souls to realize climbing 2,905 feet was no easy height. I conquered it nonetheless. So I think I'm finally making my way to the highest point in Ghana, and I think indeed the highest point in West Africa. And as you can see in front of me, it says, "Welcome to Afadjato." And indeed, I finally made it to Afadjato. So that's the struggle we've had to endure today. But it's been fun climbing from sea level to 2,905 feet above sea level. That's no mean achievement. The picturesque view from atop the mountain made the ascent worth my while. Although the muscles in my thighs still ache, I am glad I conquered my own Everest. From Liativote in the Volta region, Nia Krofis Matabe for Joy News.
Now, in spite of the popularity of this particular mountain, Afadjato, its potential for business remains largely untapped. Ni again, who returned from an expedition there over the weekend, reports there's not much to show by way of commercial activities which could earn the local assembly and community members some tourist dollars.
Afadjato lies in the quiet town of Liativote in the Volta region. Though quiet, it regularly receives tourists who come to scale the mountain. Midway through the ascent, you'd come across this rest stop sign, but it's only there to give false hope. Community leaders tell me they are yet to put up the structure, something they hope to do from the tourism revenue they raise. The summit is equally bare and uninteresting apart from the view. At best, you'd get a photographer such as Selom to capture the moment for you.
The business is booming because when people come, they have the feelings to take pictures along, physical pictures to prove to friends that they were really on Mountain Afadjato. So when they come, they take instant pictures because most of the times when they bring along cameramen, after going back in order to print pictures, some cards can corrupt. Yeah. So they really want to take instant pictures so that when they go, they know that they really come to Mountain Afadjato.
The Panten adventurers cannot even expect to get water at the summit to quench their thirst or a comfortable perch to catch their breath, except for these rocks. And if you're seeking some place to pass the night in the town of Liativote, don't raise your hopes too high, because all the town has to offer is a simple guest house, nothing fancy. There is, however, no doubt that there is a lot that can be done to make a Mount Afadjato expedition a lot more interesting. The community leaders acknowledge this, but believe it could start with their road being fixed. But that may just involve one long wait, or maybe not. Nia Krofis Matabe, Joy News.
This is News Today, and I'll be right back. Welcome back to News Today. Now, the Ghana cedi has overtaken the South African rand as the worst performing currency in Africa this year. Now, that's according to EcoBank research, and the Ghana cedi has neared a 17% depreciation to the US dollar on the forex market, as against 16.2% depreciation by the South African rand. This comes despite the $1.5 billion cocoa board syndication and the long-term debt raised by the Bank of Ghana. Last week, the local currency lost more value to the American dollar. The Ghana cedi, according to analysts, will remain under further pressure from large fiscal and current account deficits. Now, government has decided to adopt a program-based budgeting procedure for the preparation of the 2014 to 2016 budget, away from the activity-based budgeting it is using currently. The system, which comes at a cost of $1.7 billion, is to ensure better resource allocation in the budget and improve efficiency in public expenditure.
Officials of the Budget Division of the Ministry of Finance briefing parliamentarians on the new initiative insisted that there was the need to shift from preparing the national budget on the basis of individual activities, which they say was overly detailed and made the preparation very cumbersome. They contend activity-based budgeting has an excessively centralized control over its implementation and hence lacked performance focus.
But if you have a program, and you are monitoring the program, and you are not monitoring just the activities of the program, but the results that the programs are expected to deliver, then you will have a more focused monitoring system that looks at the expected results, whether we are making progress towards them and what the obstacles are.
For the preparation of the 2014 to 2016 budgets, a budgeting system based on programs with the accompanied performance indicators is to be used, as it is decentralized and results-oriented. But some parliamentarians had their own opinions about the switch.
You are moving from activity to programs. Instead of looking at activities, you want to see outcomes. Crime management, reducing crime management. So all the activities that are connected should be funded properly. And if it's cross-cutting, the sector ministers must meet to make sure that they give the resources. Nothing here tells me that all our problems are going to be solved. So we should not believe that. We are just changing, moving from first gear to another first gear.
If we are going to give ministers more discretion in the release of funds and even to amend their programs for the year, isn't that going to provide more room for chop, corruption, create loot and share?
A road project that lasts for 4 years. Under this project budget, they are not going to look at the activities. They wait till the road is finished. So how is Parliament then going to measure the activity if it's not part of the program-based budget? Mr. Speaker, I hope this is not an avenue that is being developed by technocrats to our smart politicians.
Finance Minister Setekwe, however, maintained the new budget system was part of the public financial management reforms by government and will ensure transparency and accountability in public spending.
Let me just assure members that within every program there are activities, and therefore the activities can continue to be monitored. The oversight of Parliament will always be there. All that we are saying is that resources will now be allocated to conform with programs within which there are activities which can be monitored.
The program-based budget system is to be rolled out in ministries, departments and agencies by 2016.
Shares of Japanese car maker Nissan have fallen 10% to 861 yen in Tokyo after the firm cut its full-year profit forecast. On Friday, the firm said it's expected to make a profit of 355 billion yen, that's just about $3.6 billion for the year to 31st March 2014, down from an earlier forecast of 420 billion. Nissan said tough conditions Europe and recent calls had hurt its earnings. It added that demand in emerging markets had been volatile. Japan's share market was closed on Monday. Analysts said that investors were worried about the short-term prospects of the firm. News Today will return shortly.
Very good afternoon to you. Thanks for staying tuned to the sports segment on News Today with me, Rashida Baba Kadiri. It is proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Now, I'm sure by now you've heard the news about Kwesi Appiah having named some 24 players to begin camping ahead of the second leg qualifier with Egypt in Cairo on November 19. I mean, here's just a reminder of who and who have made a 24-man squad.
Kwesi Appiah has named Kevin Prince Boateng in the 24-man squad to face Egypt in this month's World Cup playoff qualifier. Also included in the squad are Dominic Adia and goalkeeper Daniel Ajay, as both players return to the Black Stars team to play the Pharaohs in Cairo on 19th November at the Air Defence Stadium. The Black Stars lead the tie 6-1 after the first leg in Kumasi on 15th October. The full squad includes Fatal Dauda, Adam Lassen Korase and Daniel Ajay for goalkeepers. For defenders, Harrison Affle, Samuel Inkum, Daniel Opari, David Adi, Jerry Akamenko, Rashid Samaila, Mohamed Awal, and Edwin Jima. For midfielders, Michael Asian, Suleiman Tari, Kwadwo Samoa, Emmanuel Ajimambedu, Albert Aduma, Mubarak Wakasu, and Christian Achu, as well as Andrew Yu, have been called up. For strikers, Samoa Jan, Abdul Majid Waris, Kevin Prince Boateng, Jordan Yu, and Dominic Adia make the shortlist.
Now, the Black Stars will no longer camp in Ethiopia to prepare for their 2014 World Cup playoffs on November 19 as planned. Ghana, who had used the facilities in Addis Ababa in preparation towards the World Cup qualifying doubleheader against Sudan and Lesotho in June, had hoped to return to the East African country for the Cairo game, which is a fortnight away. Now, the 8-day pre-game training camp initially scheduled for Ethiopia has been changed, and the team will now be training in Turkey, following a report from an advanced emissary by the Ghana Football Association and Ministry of Sports, describing the state of facilities as unsatisfactory to the standards of the Black Stars team. The Black Stars are scheduled to arrive in Cairo on November 18 for the match to be played at the Air Defence Stadium. The Black Stars have one foot in Brazil after handing the Pharaohs of Egypt one of their worst defeats in history. That's 6-1 in the first leg of the World Cup playoff tie in Kumasi on October 15. Now, there will be Champions League action later tonight. Kwadwo Asamoah will be in action for Juventus. I'll bring you the fixtures in a bit. But for now, let's focus on one player who would have made it and become one of the best goalkeepers in the world some 20 years back if he had had the chance to continue his career. Ali Gerard got injured whilst playing for Ghana and has since not been able to return to full-time action. For now, he owns an academy which is training goalkeepers and has churned out goalkeepers like Fatal Dauda, who is Black Stars #1 at the moment. Now, let's listen to Ali Gerard as he tells us a little bit about how he got injured and what's been happening to him so far.
What is happening to me? And the body was numb. I couldn't feel anything. So I told him.
Were you alone at home that day?
No, I was at the hospital at Kolebu.
In Kolebu, okay.
Yes, I was admitted before I got paralyzed.
Okay.
My brother came to visit and I told him, look, but I couldn't raise my leg. Okay, you are lagging. Raise it and let me see. I was trying with the upper body, but the lower body is not responding. Before they reported it to the doctor, we came and I started crying because I didn't expect what is happening to me.
I see.
So it happens one weekend. I got paralyzed. That's all. But all the same in my life, whatever comes my way, I just accept it by the way it is. So quickly I organized myself, accepted it, and I have to live with it. So life still goes on. I stayed for 1 month in Ghana, 1 month, 1 week, which I'm very happy I was sent to the UK by the government for my treatment in the UK. So I stayed in Cromwell Hospital for 1.5 years. I stayed 1.5 years in Cromwell Hospital before I came back to Ghana. It was for 8 months in the UK before I was able to sit, because I lay on my tummy for 6 months, which I had a bed sore as well. So I lay on my tummy for 6 months before I was able to sit. I started sitting, which I had a skin graft over there, which they took part of my hand to at least to be able to kill the sore at my back, because the body is not working. Nothing is working. Since people were coming and going, the doctors decided to give me a side ward, because I have to relax than people coming in and going up. So after the following day, even the time I went to the hospital, the doctors couldn't recognize it was Ali Jara who is on bed.
I see.
Yes. After I got paralyzed, before they got to realize there is someone who is important at the hospital. So they have to change my ward. So the time they changed my ward, those who came in the morning to visit me without sending me on the bed, that's where the speculation started that Alice Jara is dead.
I see.
That's where it started from. I was told in the house people were going and coming. So whenever they come to the house, before you'll be told that no, the fellow is not dead but he's still alive. So people...
That's the sad story of Ali Jara, one of Ghana's best goalkeepers. I'm sure if he had continued his career, he would have been far better, or maybe we could have compared him to the likes of Gianluigi Buffon, to Ike Casillas, to Oliver Kahn, and all of those people. All right, away from that, like I said before, there's Champions League action tonight. Kodjo Asamoah is in action for Juventus as they play against Real Madrid at the Juventus Stadium. Other matches also coming up. Real Sociedad are taking on Manchester United at the Anoeta. Shakhtar Donetsk, they are taking on Bayer Leverkusen. Galatasaray are away to FC Copenhagen. Olympiacos, they welcome Benfica. We have Paris Saint-Germain up against Anderlecht, and then Manchester City versus CSKA Moscow. Victoria Plzen, they take on Bayern München. And then also coming up in the Under-17 World Cup semi-finals later today, Argentina, they host Mexico, and then Sweden take on Nigeria. Remember that Nigeria is the only African team left standing in this competition ongoing in the United Arab Emirates. And on that note, I draw the curtain on this afternoon's edition on sports. It is proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo.
You're welcome back to News Today. Now, President John Mahama has told his critics, whom he says can't wait to see him out of office, to be patient since 2016 is just around the corner. He said, for those who disagree with me and are anxious to see my back, not to worry, 2016 is not too far away. Now, President Mahama, let's take a listen to President Mahama.
Mr. Chairman, recently the issue of corruption, transparency and accountability has become topical. Our people expect us to demonstrate that we are able to deal with the canker of corruption decisively, both in terms of putting in place the systems that make it difficult for corruption to thrive, and also deal decisively with cases of corruption wherever they may arise. They also expect us to be transparent and accountable in everything we do. I send you to your posts with my full backing to do everything you can to stamp out corruption. We have passed many pieces of legislation to enhance the fight against corruption, and yet many loopholes still exist that are taken advantage of to perpetrate the canker. In the next few weeks, we'll announce new measures to tighten the system, to ensure more transparency and make corruption more difficult to undertake. And it is my hope that I can count on your support in the difficult fight against corruption. Recently, a few of my comrades have questioned my ability to fight corruption. I dare say they don't know me well. For those who disagree with me and are anxious to see my back, not to worry, 2016 is not too far away. I'll urge them to be patient. In this difficult job, the least one expects is comradeship and solidarity. Leadership is a very difficult task and a lonely one. And it will not only stress you, it will require all your talent and your skill. You have a difficult task ahead of you, I will not fool you, especially at the district level. You cannot take refuge in anonymity. Because of the smallness of your jurisdictions, your lives are open books. People will be able to count the meat in your soups. Everybody sees you and hears you all the time. And when you cannot be seen or heard, everybody also notices. You must therefore exhibit a very high sense of responsibility and diligence in executing your mandates to meet the needs of the people of your districts. You are the frontline fighting force of the government. And for many of our people who have no direct access to political functionaries in Accra and the regional capitals, they judge the government's performance by your performance.
Let's now check out news from across the globe. And the M23 rebel group in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo says it is ending its insurgency hours after the government claimed military victory. In a statement, the movement said it would adopt purely political means to achieve its goals and urges fighters to disarm and demobilize. The government says the last remaining rebels had either surrendered or fled across the border overnight. Since the 19-month conflict began, some 800,000 people have fled their homes. Government spokesman Lambert Mende says Congolese special forces had driven the rebels out of the final hilltop strongholds. And M23 leader Bertrand Bisimwa has requested the Chief of General Staff and the commanders of all major units prepare troops for disarmament, demobilization and reintegration on terms to be agreed with the government of Congo.
Us to stop fight when the government side, the government army are shooting us. As I told you, we ordered our soldiers to stop fighting. And after that, the government continued to shell. And the government never gave to his soldiers the order to stop fighting. And in this case, what do you want which can be happened on the ground? And now, the government continues to shell our position. And do you think that our soldiers will lay their guns down and waiting a bullet which will come and kill them? Yes, as I told you, the agreement is there. If both parties can sign it, I think it will be a good signal which will give towards our people and our soldiers. And I think both parties will take all decisions to stop fighting.
Let's stay on the continent, and Malawi's Electoral Commission has established a task force to organize the country's first ever presidential debate in the run-up to general elections on May 20, according to Sangwani Mafulera, the electoral body's director for Media First. The group aims to create a platform where they can give a chance to the electorate to compare views and policies which the presidential candidates have on various issues affecting the country. He said the political parties have endorsed the idea and have signaled they want to take part. A scientist from Burkina Faso has won an award from Britain's Royal Society for his research on new ways to target mosquito swarms responsible for the spread of malaria. Scientists say it is vital to develop new tools to tackle the disease, as both the malarial parasites and the mosquitoes that carry it are developing resistance to existing drugs and insecticides.
One thing about this mating system is that whenever you go into a field site, you will find mosquito swarm at the same place every single day, and this kind of make it really very easy target to struggle these mosquitoes and see how you can just reduce mosquito density. So if you can succeed in killing the male, what will happen is that you will have a strong bias in male and female ratio, so you will have more female than male, and because the female really need the male to mate and then to be able to lay eggs, so if there is no male, no mating, no eggs, no mosquitoes in this case, so no malaria.
So far we've relied very much on using insecticide treated bed nets, but there are concerns of resistance to the insecticide that are used for treating nets, and so really developing novel ways of controlling the malaria vectors is very important.
The bodies of two French journalists who were shot dead in northern Mali have been repatriated to Paris. Radio France International's Ghislaine Dupont, 57, and Claude Felon, 58, were kidnapped and killed on Saturday after interviewing a local leader in Kidal. French President François Hollande was among those present at Charles de Gaulle Airport to receive the bodies. His Mali counterpart Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta has vowed to do everything to find the culprits. The bodies of the two journalists were flown to the capital of Mali, Bamako, on Sunday night. UN humanitarian chief Valerie Amos has said some 9.3 million people in Syria, or about 40% of the population, now need outside assistance. This figure has risen by 2.5 million from the 6.8 million total the UN gave in September. Amos told the UN Security Council the Syria crisis continues to deteriorate rapidly and inexorably. Meanwhile, UN Arab League envoy Lakhdar Brahimi is due to hold talks with US and Russian diplomats aimed at paving the way for a Syria peace conference.
As far as the cooperation with armed groups, with terrorist groups, we believe they have to accept that this medicine should reach each child. And usually we ask the United Nations organizations in Syria to make the necessary contacts.
So the soundbite you heard was from Damascus, where it's been announced of a nationwide vaccination campaign to immunize every Syrian child against polio, measles, mumps and rubella, even in rebel-held territories. Let's do some showbiz now. A few months after launching her beauty salon, actress Martha Nkoma says she has dreams of establishing a Christian TV station. She is hoping to employ at least 50 people by age 35.
You may call it a pipe dream, but the sexy actress, when she appeared on the white carpet over the weekend, didn't come across as someone who was kidding.
You want to build a studio.
Yeah.
What kind of studio? A TV studio. And turn it into a TV Christian TV station.
Yeah.
Turn it into a Christian TV station.
That should be your first time.
I want, at the age of 35, I'm very young now, by the age of 35, I want to employ let's say 50 people.
How many
I just want to be going for board meetings. I'm very young, so I just have to calculate. I just want to be going for board meetings and all that. And I'll say, okay, next time if you don't work hard, I think we'll sack you, but try and discipline yourself and all that. So I'm working towards it. It's not.
She had other dreams and didn't hesitate to share them, no matter how fanciful.
I want to see myself shooting a movie with Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah.
I want to see myself being directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure you know him.
I know him.
I want to see myself being directed by Tyler Perry. I really want to work with Tyler Perry.
I love your dream. Big dreams.
Big dreams.
You've got to dream big anyway.
So I mean, I think it's working. I'm sure with time God will just put me up there.
Meanwhile, she entreats all her fans to watch out for her new movie, A Trip to Hell, being produced by the award-winning director, Leila Jansi.
This is News Today. Look at our main news. And traditional ruler of Sekwa in the Bunahafu region gunned down by unknown assailants. New research puts Ghana cedi as worst performing currency in Africa. M23 rebel group ends its insurgency hours after government claimed military victory. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Many thanks for joining me. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Goodbye.